What exactly is WorldCoin? Is it
like Bitcoin?
You know that word coin there just makes it seem like something like it's got something to do with money. Last week it was trending. People are selling a coin by saying how you register your iris and all.
Did you listen to the Hot Breakfast this morning? Here's what you missed.
Just last week, right, there was a story going around that eCitizen had been hacked. There was a cyber attack across quite a few government installations and private businesses as well. How pertinent is that? How often does it happen? And how bad was this attack, by the way, right? A
lot of tweets were coming in thick and fast, and people complaining about being incapable of making payments. The people who didn't notice didn't have any money at all, so they weren't affected. Like, how can you kufanya? Yeah, those ones weren't affected.
Yeah, but those who were, it was rough. How bad was that cyber attack last week?
Very bad. I mean, it completely disrupted what we consider as a normal operations within government. Remember, our government has had a very serious agenda to digitize itself and ensure that everything is digital. So their plan seemed to have been highly disrupted by this very act of attack on the eCitizen platform. That attack largely considered as a DDoS. So a DDoS is a denial of service. So that means that, for instance, if, on layman terms, if you were to have 1,000 calls coming through your phone, you drop this one, the next one comes through, nobody who is trying to get you legitimately will get through to you. So it essentially means that people are unable to access the service, and the service is completely rendered unavailable to anybody looking to connect to it. So it's quite a severe and a serious attack on the very existence of the digitization process of government.
Was it successful? In other words, was it stopped in time, or is it still...
It was successful. I mean, success is when you deliberately deny service, so it was successful. I mean, that very act in itself shut down the process of accessing eCitizen completely.
Let me ask you, is a government-owned, IT products more prone to these attacks? Because you don't hear like private entities getting attacked as such, or they do get, but they don't share that information.
Well, everybody gets attacked, but I think they don't share that. But being that government is public, I mean, it will have more interest in trying to bring it down. And there's an agenda to digitize the government. So the more there's a deliberate effort to frustrate that, whether willfully or unwillfully, I mean, it will definitely have serious effect on the very process that the government is trying to achieve.
John Paul, how vulnerable are we?
You really can't measure vulnerability because it's not a special attack that only happened to the Kenya government. It has also happened before, even governments that we feel are more developed than Kenya. So it was successful, but I also believe maybe it's just making us be better prepared, as a country. But we are not that vulnerable. I mean, how many times have we had eCitizen go down? I mean, this might be the first time. But to George's point, attacks are there every day. They happen every day. Every single day these attacks happen. But how many times are they successful? So whether we are told or not, that is something else. But the fact that this is the first time we've seen success on this, then it means we might not be as bad as we think, but we have to do more to continue protecting ourselves.
Yeah. Where are these attacks coming? Who are the attackers? Do we know?
When we expose our underbelly and we show our vulnerability, there is a tendency for people to benefit from that very act. The very act that the service is down, meaning that something is frustrated. The very act that service providers will come in and provide particular service, so certainly that will benefit somebody else. And the very essence that this particular infrastructure is dependent by many. And the fact that you frustrate the agenda of the government of the day, then certainly you find it as a success. But when it comes to levels of success, levels of vulnerabilities, we are highly vulnerable as a developing economy. Because remember, 96 to almost 100% of the technology we are using is imported. So meaning the vulnerabilities that are happening abroad are what we are bringing home. And we have not essentially developed a heavily technical environment to allow for us to have our own inbuilt technologies or inbuilt solutions that will allow such infrastructure to be developed and protected locally, owing to our vulnerabilities and also owing to the nature of some of the solutions that we are trying to develop and use within this economy.
But you know, we have John Paul Onyango here from East Africa Checkpoint Software. What's stopping us from creating our own software so that we get rid of these imports and vulnerabilities?
Technology actually normally comes last. The first is the people. How educated are people towards handling some of these hackings or attacks that come in? For instance, it can be, George earlier was talking about ransomware. The easiest way that it comes is through email. Someone just clicks and all of a sudden everything gets encrypted. So how educated are our people that when you receive an email, don't just click any link? So there are technologies behind it which will do the background check, like what we do at Checkpoint. So there's something that will run in the background to check if that link is legitimate or not. But when people are trained, then the second thing is how are the processes? Because there has to be a process, there has to be policies to safeguard us. So, for instance, what do you need if there's an attack? Where do you need to report it? And how is it handled going forwards? Or even before the attack, what are the policies that are there to safeguard this organization? Then now the technology comes to help with, once the people are also educated and the processes are ready. Back to your question, what can we have as ourselves? Maybe I would say what we need is do the two. Because I think developing our own technology might take us some time. Yes, everyone is trying. We always tend as Africa to learn from what the rest of the world is doing. But we can do the two because the two are within our power. Educating people and creating the right processes and policies to safeguard ourselves. Then now we can control what the technology does, irrespective of where we've bought it from.
Are there frameworks in place to help us?
Our people are not using our technology responsibly. Even when you're trying to, for instance, talk about use of technology. The work phone is being used to access XXX websites, and where a lot of material that create cookies and malwares are dropped into our machines. So for instance, when you access a porn website or a particular gaming website, because our people are really gaming and they are really watching a lot of adult content.
This is based on research and facts.
Yes.
Nick, you're complaining. Is he talking about you?
I think he's feeling a little
You should audit your computer and see what you're accessing. But essentially what happens is that when you access an adult website, what happens is that there's a lot of hidden malware, or malwares are like viruses inside there that will essentially attack your computer or will get dropped into your network and then access your network, and then it will, for instance, try and spoof and see exactly what vulnerabilities are there within your network. Then they will use that to exploit and attack your network. And that's why you're seeing a lot of infrastructure is being ransomed. So something called ransomware, where people are coming and holding your data hostage and telling you, hey guy, if you need your data back, you will need to pay us X amount of money in bitcoins. So essentially, and it's really supporting the underground theft of wealth, because you find that you're being asked for 20 million shillings in bitcoins that you'll have to provide, or you'll not get back your data. And there are commercial enterprises that are there around the world, in Eastern Europe, in parts of Russia and North Korea, that have completely mega $1 million businesses that are making millions from ransomware.
So the first thing that when someone gets to work is to connect to the
Internet.
Wi-Fi in office.
Public Wi-Fi.
Yes.
Now, when you connect, you don't know what this guy has downloaded on the phone. It might be a protocol that is Android-based, that is Windows-based, but because it's on phone, it's doing nothing. But the moment they connect to that office Wi-Fi, then all of a sudden it starts sniffing or noticing that there are protocols that it's actually interested in. So then it starts going out to attack. So those are some of the policies. So how many people, for instance, I will say, like organizations that have guest networks, you find maybe because I'm Jeff, I'm at Hot 96, I know the office Wi-Fi password.
Yes.
So instead of using the guest network, I actually join through the office Wi-Fi because maybe it is faster. And it can put the entire organization into trouble.
You're asking yourself, how did this guy get into my bank? How did they easily get my passwords, my Instagram account, my Facebook? And you now realize the new currency is our accounts. I mean, if I was to get both of your Twitter and Facebook and Instagram accounts, I mean, I will get serious following just like by stealing your password. So it means that essentially protection of your data and your cleanness of your behavior. I mean, we were told in the 80s about HIV and AIDS, usiingie kila mahali, use protection, all that. Now we need to start doing that for our phones. Usiingize kila mahali.
Usikibali kila kitu.
Don't download some videos onto your phones, because the new way also sharing malware is through videos and links that are shared on WhatsApp and all, that you're able to download and be able to upload those things. There are Telegram groups that heavily are producing and sharing pornographic material that is also heavily laden with malwares that are easily able to access and manipulate organizations in a very crazy way that you can't believe.
If someone hacks into your account, let's say your bank account, right? First of all, how do they do it? How are they able to do that?
I mean,
can your bank protect you?
Yes. So most banks are doing what you call two-factor authentication. So whereby you provide your password, so you provide the username and password for logging in. So assuming they get that, there are banks that are providing now a tertiary level of protection where once you provide your username and your password, as you log in, it will ask for an OTP. So to send an OTP, one-time password. So essentially to generate that, send it to your WhatsApp. Sorry, send it to your text message. Once you receive it, you input the same, and you're able now to have full access. But in situations where, for instance, the bank hasn't provided for that, or the phone in itself has also, you've opted to have the OTP sent to your email, then essentially you'll have the same compromise. So the OTP will be sent to the email. The email, they will acquire the one-time password and essentially wipe out all your data. So, and the most interesting thing that you find that a lot of people are afraid. So remember the argument we had a few years back on providing Huduma card. We were very aggressive until the government knowing our privacy, data privacy information. Yes. But you'll find that a lot of us have given more data to Facebooks, to the rest of the players than we have given to our own government. So you find that if you hack into your phone, I'll essentially get to know the entire of Jeff, and I'll get to pick everything. Your password are all saved there, your emails are there, your communication is there, your bank details are there. So meaning the fact that I control your device, I will essentially have full control of you. And that's exactly the same thing that's also happened to governments. When they get full access to government servers, they get virtually everything that they need to manipulate and kill that entire institution to death.
For you to go into an office, you have to write your name, ID, phone number. Now the question is, if I lose a number, how do I get it back? So maybe I call the service provider, give my name, give my ID number, and then I get a new number. Right? Now that alone can be used to get whatever someone wants. So if I need your number, I just randomly walk where I think you normally frequent more in an office. I'll have your ID number, your phone number, and I call as lost. And that's why you see, I still say we live a lot, and I think it's also good for us guys in the industry to educate masses. Maybe it might not change now, yeah, but maybe it's high time we also ask, where does these books that we write our names, IDs, and where do they go? Because that is data there. And we should also maybe stop putting everything on Facebook, on Twitter.
And that's why you're seeing people going to hotels these days. They are very keen of not putting in their information. They are keen on either paying cash.
Yes.
Go to a hotel, unarealize jamaa hataki kulipa na M-Pesa. Anasema ndalipa cash. Na usiandike jina yangu, me I'll just pay and leave.
Are you talking about Nico?
Yeah.
And which hotel are you talking about in particular?
I think for Nick is because of other things.
He doesn't want to leave a paper trail.
But the truth is, we have a lot of our information is out there.
And we are we just careless, or are we trusting, or
uninformed?
Yes.
And we, I think all of us have a tendency of thinking that, and I think it also goes for me, but we think we're really very smart. We tend to overestimate ourselves. Not in a bad way. It's good to think you're smart, but it's also essential to apply caution in many things. Because I think when I am thinking I am not giving out a lot, for instance, when I get to the Askari and I'm giving him a copy of my ID, I'm giving him my mobile number, I'm giving him my home address. I mean, I have given out a sizable chunk of my personality or personal information to them. So meaning that the next time they have access, or somebody has access to my devices, they essentially have 30% of what they needed to exploit any information they need. And data privacy is a conversation that we are not having an issue over. There is this coin that is being discussed, WorldCoin, that everybody's going and scanning their iris. They are doing an eye scan. But you need to realize the most unique component in your body is your eye scan. So there are people who go to Dubai and they are deported back to Kenya and they think, nabadilisha passport, alafu nikirudi huko they will not know it is me. When Dubai discovered that, what they did is that they discovered that if we do an eye scan, the eye and the design of the eye is completely unique to one singular individual. So the next time you go back to Dubai, they scan your eyes and they see you and the other passport and this new one are one and the same person. Muliza Nick was deported.
Yes, it's very true. I don't know how that information leaked. Maybe I didn't protect my data.
I mean, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Is that now people are queuing in malls to give some guys their eye scans. It's a private company. Nobody knows what they will do with all this data. Remember, they will sell this data. They can create your own an identity. You'll have identity theft happening. So you'll find a new Jeff traveling around the world, and they can authenticate it is you. The real data is available. I mean, and this is the problem: is that we tend not to think beyond what we are seeing at the face value.
Yeah.
When I share this information, what is the risk for my privacy? What's the risk for my organization? What's the risk for me as an individual to ensure that my data remains anonymous and I am able to anonymize myself at all essence? I mean, tools like that anonymize people are what people are now heavily using on the internet to try and anonymize themselves. So try and ensure that it doesn't show up any private information, and then you clear all cookies after you have visited particular websites that would essentially carry or drop those cookies into your computer.
You know, you've mentioned WorldCoin, and I've seen them at pretty much all malls, and it's like the most vulnerable people in society, the ones who are really striving to to join.
Yes.
What exactly is WorldCoin? Is it
like Bitcoin?
You know that word coin there just makes it seem like something like it's got something to do with money. Last week it was trending. People are selling a coin by saying how you register your iris and all this stuff. So, you know.
What is it?
I haven't understood it personally, but there's a new trendy thing of creating coins in the world.
Yeah.
Remember, there's a whole perception of easiness of creating cryptocurrencies. So the success of Bitcoin in itself made it possible for organizations to create alternative value that can be traded and can have commercial value for other people to procure. So you find that, for instance, there will be Bitcoin, there will be Ethereum, and there will be other materials that are being created. Now, over and above that, now other crypto currencies have come about, and those include coins like WorldCoin that are coming in now to try and create sort of ecosystems that people can trade as commercially acceptable values. But what they are depending on is exploitation of individual data or exploitation of information of people that is being now traded commercially for other purposes. Remember, if I am able to create a version of Nick commercially, I'll be able to sell to organizations post me procuring your data to be able to have them target you. So remember, they will know the kind of soap you use. So we'll try and win you away from the particular soap that you're currently using.
Or the websites I visit.
The websites that you visit, the Christian websites you visit frequently. So they will ensure that at least they know the kind of things you like. And if it's product, if it's material, if it's watches, if it's things that are luxurious, then they'll suddenly do that for you. I don't know who has ever done this. You are looking to go for holiday and you're looking out for your leave, and essentially you start looking for Malindi or Watamu hotels or in Seychelles, and all of a sudden, everywhere you go, you're seeing Seychelles. You're seeing a particular hotel. You're seeing adverts targeting you. And you were just talking about it to somebody, or you just searched Seychelles for a day and then you decided maybe you'll move in next week. That is exactly what we are talking about. Where now commercialization will now go away from what you're seeing, billboards that target masses, to individualized communication that essentially targets you. And this comes from or stems from the fact that there was still a lot of data from you individually to try and create that particular communication that is targeting you individually.
But also, the way the world is going, like the other day I tried to delete cookies, and then one or two things, I go to a website and said the website won't be able to serve you properly until you enable the cookies.
Yes.
What exactly are cookies for the layman like Jeff here, who's used to magazines and not websites?
I thought cookies you get in a bakery. Or
Now, cookies are microdata that are essentially used to serve or serve content to you. So what the website will do is that it will drop microsets of data from that website to ensure that you have ease of access to the data. So meaning that it will drop a chunk of that website into your machine to make it possible to easily access data. Then it will also access or try and look at your behavior within a website for them to learn and understand how do they serve you better. So essentially, they want to monitor what you do whilst inside there to know what they need to improve and to know what you're looking for them to be able to serve you better. You understand? So for instance, it's like when I have come here and there's a CCTV here that monitors how I behaved when I'm here, so that next time when I come back again, they will know how to better experience.
It's like I'm Googling St. Joseph's Missionary School, then it says, did you mean missionary? It twists you around.
Yes.
But I think also at the same time, it gives you that personalized experience, but there's something that they get out of it.
Yeah.
Normally what we say is that if you're not buying a product or you're not paying for the product, then you should know that you're the product. So you're the one being sold. So anything that, even when you go to, like I see the coins and stuff, I mean, no one gives you things for free. No one.
They're commercializing on your data.
So they're commercializing your data, which means they are selling you.
like you were hacked a few years ago, weren't you?
Yeah, I think last year, but one.
What were they looking for?
Mine, I just clicked something.
Something, Nick. Now you can confess.
You know, like the way
Confession time.
Yes.
you get an email saying your Facebook has been compromised, and the email, so they write, let's say, Facebook and something.
Yes.
So it looks like it's a Facebook email. When you click like this,
And it tells you provide a new password.
yes,
Old password.
put a picture of your passport and everything. Ooh. I was out of Nini for a few months.
That's what you call phishing. So phishing is an aspect whereby particular websites are copied, and a copy of the same is presented to you as though it's the original thing. So it looks as legit as it can, including the URL, and it shows you it's redirecting to Facebook.com. But you're not very keen on Facebook.
Yeah, you're just in the Facebook part.
Yes, you see in the face, and you're sure this is Facebook. Then you put in your username. It tells you provide your names, your username, provide your old password, retype again your old password, your email address, and your email address password, and type in a new password. Now, essentially, they've collected everything they needed from you. Once they collect that, they will only need now within seconds, they have somebody else on the other side funneling and pulling this data and being able to collect the same and connect to those accounts. I want you to imagine this. Pick 10,000 email addresses that you randomly we collected from all the askaris in town that we share very easily. Now, send those 10,000 people that Facebook email. Tell them your email has been compromised. Quickly change your password within 2 minutes. How many people do you think, out of probability, how many people do you think will react to that email, Jeff?
Like 90.
90%. So we're talking about 9,000 people have replied to that email. How many out of that 9,000 will provide the real password and real email? We are saying about 90% of them.
Yeah.
So almost another 8,000 people. When you talk about 8,000 emails will be compromised instantly, what is the possibility that out of that 8,000 will be a Jeff or a Nick or a high-profile account that they will desperately want to do anything to get back? So that is what exactly we are talking about. That the risk of us just clicking anything just like Nick did, the risk of us easily falling prey to such material and being now able to lose that entire data.
Is there a solution to all this, or is it just trial and error each time, trial and error, or can we prevent future attacks?
We can. Yeah. I mean, if we killed everybody, then there will be no more attacks. Our biggest risk is the man, because the final man who protects the password for this machine is Jeff. As much as Jeff is not compromised, then we are good. But if Jeff is compromised, or his password is his favorite child, or his favorite beer,
and then now he has only one child, so if you just know the name,
you only need to add the year of birth. You're in.
I guess that's the point now when you talk to people about creating passwords that are not very easy to. There's some people, you look at them and you talk to them and you're like, this one, the password is definitely the year of birth.
Yes.
Their mom's name and their name.
Oh, yes.
Actually, Nick, you'll be surprised if you just look at people and guess the password. You'll be surprised. The people that you think may look sophisticated actually the ones who maybe have password 123 as their password.
It's like the people with more money have you ever seen
the
signature? Yes, sign hivi na ana pesa ule yako na pesa kidogo.
Kama huyu kijana ukiona password yake it's like 5 meters long.
But I think, Jeff, you've talked about prevention. So prevention is possible, and that's what we are trying to do as players in cybersecurity. So things like he's talking about, like phishing. So we have technology that can help you with phishing. So it scans in the background to actually alert you whether that link is legitimate or not. So, but again, there has to be a lot of learning, because not everyone has that technology in place. And that's why I say you tell people, don't just see a link and click. Yeah, but technology is there, but we also need to have a very well prepared framework or a process that helps us, because at the end of the day, if we're not going to sit here and say that the guys of eCitizen didn't have technology to protect them.
Yeah,
they had, but at some point the technology can become vulnerable, and we need the people and the process to also help us to safeguard ourselves. And that's the only way we can't prevent it 100%, but when we use the three well, then we are able to at least have some level of